Good afternoon. Got a big one on the road, really kind of our first true road test when it comes to handling a different type of environment, pretty much what you see in the SEC week in and week out. Going to Columbia and playing Coach Beamer's team. They're 3-3 right now. They're dang good, is what I would say. You know, they played Missouri on the road, 20-29 games, a one-score game all the way till the end, and same thing there, LSU here this last week, rushed for over 200 yards at LSU, and it's a 17-10 game all the way till just the last couple of possessions of the game. Vanderbilt played them earlier in the year and played really well, created some explosive plays, had some huge stops, some bunch of lost yardage plays early, and really stifled a few drives that they had going, and created some explosive plays offensively. Otherwise, again, he's done a really good job. They lost a bunch of guys from a year ago, and offensively, better personnel than what they had a year ago around the quarterback. The quarterback is one of the toughest players to defend, in my opinion, in the country. His arm talent, his strength, his speed. He's bigger and faster and stronger than most of your guys, and I love the heart and the toughness that he plays with. They've done an awesome job in the special teams. They've got an NCAA leading 6 non-offensive touchdowns between what they've been able to do defensively, 3 defensive touchdowns, and 3 punt returns for touchdowns. They got a DB, number 4, Swain, that is, man, he's lightning in a bottle. And really aggressive. They lead the SEC in forced turnovers with 12. So they've been, really aggressive in what they do. They've got great length and strength in their front 7. Do a really good job. Coach White's been there for a good while now, and he's really done a nice job of, I know exactly what it looked like when he got there, and what he's been able to build has been pretty remarkable. And but they've done a great job, all 3 phases. I said this last night on my coach's show, that they take pride in winning in all 3 phases, and it's a really physical football team. They're very comfortable being in a lot of one-score games as well. And Coach Shula, he was a head coach, I think, at Alabama when we went to Tuscaloosa several years ago, 2003, I believe. And he does a really nice job as well. Dylan Stewart, one of the premier pass rushers and all of college football. We got to see him up close and personal last year. They played really well when they came here last year, and hit us right in the mouth. Basically 3 defensive touchdowns, 3 straight opening drives, 3 defensive turnovers, and 2 of them touchdowns, and the other one led to a quick touchdown. And so we need to play, really efficient. We got to take care of the football. We got to get better. We got to play more efficiently, offensively, and for 4 quarters. And defensively, we can't have any lapses. We've got to force turnovers. That's been a staple of who we are for decades. And for whatever reason, they're just not coming like we need them to come this year. They can be game changers and create momentum for your football team, certainly field position, scoring opportunities, etc. So, not a better time to get it started than this week. It'll be a great atmosphere, early morning game. They've always done a great job, at home, with their home crowd and whatnot. So excited to move forward. And our guys had a really good mindset to them. I think mindset's a lot more important than talent. And as I said last night, again, disappointing in the loss, but not discouraged. This is a team that's talented, and they're tough-minded. They believe, and they're together. And when you put those 2 things together, being, again, believing and being together, man, I think it's a very powerful thing. And so looking forward to getting back on the field this afternoon and putting in our game plans, and again, going on the road this week.
Yeah, Brent, just got 2 quick ones for you. First, how is Derek Simmons doing? Is that a long-term situation, or how's?
Yeah, it's a day-to-day. He responded well.
Secondly, We haven't seen Javonte Barnes the last couple games. We haven't seen Taylor Tatum all this season. Is that just part of the rotation? Or?
Yeah. No, Javonte, something happened in pregame. Something we thought initially it was hamstring, but there's something else. But I think it'll be a short-term thing. I don't really have any other information. He didn't practice yesterday, but he's moving around. And then Taylor's had one thing after the other. He practiced yesterday, but between stingers and an ankle and a hamstring, he's kind of been snake bit. Mm-hmm.
The first things you said after the loss was this is still a really good football team. Coming off an emotional loss like that, with the schedule not getting any easier, how do you make sure that this doesn't snowball?
Just be who we are. Again, you have snowballing can certainly mean, as a broad term, it means a lot to a lot of different people. I don't see people that are weak-minded and let things snowball. That's not what I see every day. This is a group that knows how to punch back and dust themselves off and go right back at it. It's a group of competitors, both coaches and players, a lot of guys that are heavily invested, and again, you lost a game, and late in the game you have a chance to still win the game, wherein a lot of things didn't go your way. You try to figure things out, and you come right back and you do it again. And I told them before the game, you go win the game. Hey, guess what? We got to go play a noon kickoff in Columbia, South Carolina, regardless of this outcome of this game. And it's going to be every bit as important, win or lose. And they're all important. So our guys got a business-like approach. I do think that they're fueled from the pain of defeat and missed opportunities, and they'll respond the right way.
You talked last night about feeling like there were potentially things you could do around Mateer to scheme better, to put him into a better position of success. What do you feel like some of those things are, and what are you looking to see?
I'm certainly not going to lay it out there for you, but you're always looking for ways to help guys. So I'm not going to get into what that exactly means, but and again, John, he told you himself he feels like he needed to make a few better decisions and be a little more patient, let the game come to him, and he's anxious and amped up, and like everybody was, and probably pressed a little bit, but you play quarterback at a high level when everybody around you is playing at a high level as well. We need to get better. We need to improve. Everybody around need to be a little more efficient with what they're doing, fundamentally, physically, technically, all of those things. Mm-hmm.
Brent, the tailbacks that you guys played against Texas rushed for a combined 42 yards, and it wasn't just a Texas thing. You guys have struggled to run with your tailbacks throughout the year. Jaden Ott had pretty good performance against Kent State. Then we see him carry it once, drop a pass, miss a block, and he's kind of done for. But he's a guy that rushed for 1,300 yards a couple years ago.
Yeah.
What's keeping him from more touches and seeming like a guy that maybe could affect the offense?
Yeah, well, I think he got in the game early, and some things didn't go great right away. And that's, hey, everybody deserves some grace. But I think personally, man, Torrey Blaylock has been fantastic, and he's a guy that's hard to keep off the field. And so I think it's more an indictment on how well Torrey has played, both in a lot of times freshmen, they don't do a great job in pass protection and being involved in the passing game, in the running game, all of those things that it takes to play, a tailback, without people knowing exactly what you're going to do. And Torrey's been fantastic. We've been bragging on him for a long time. He'll be a guy that's up to this point, one of our MVP kind of guys. And the more times he touches the ball, the better he gets. He runs through trash, picks up, good blitzing linebackers, does a great job in his chip protection, has a good feel for, what we want to be. And so I think it's more of an indictment on Torrey.
Two questions, Brent. One's easy. In your 10 years at Clemson, okay,
Can
here you
you
go.
give me a hard question?
This will be easy. 10 years at Clemson, did you ever go to the South Carolina State Fair?
No.
I didn't think so.
I mean, I'm physically there while it's going on, but I've not been to the fair.
Second, you like to say and have said quite a few bit in the past that the SEC is a one-possession league. All the games are tight. Hadn't always been true, but this year it looks like it's a runaway, close. Is the key to figuring out a way to win close games, or is the key figuring out a way to not play close games and give yourself cushion?
I think that both of those keys can actually be true, and you better figure it out in the one-score games. And certainly, why does it have to be? You got to play really well, and all three phases kind of goes without saying. And I don't think it has to be, but I think, and I don't know whatever it is, you probably got the data more than me. I focus on us. That's really where my focus is. I want our guys to normalize the struggle of game day. A lot of times I think it's people put this expectation or there's an environment that is nurtured outside of our building that things will come easy, and there's not anything easy about it. And so everything gets easier when you stop expecting it to be easy. And so I think that's a tough-mindedness that you want your guys to play with, a level of comfort when things aren't going well or when things are a little harder. I don't want guys to panic. I don't want guys to, oh my God, now what do we do? You're going to get punched back a lot. And this isn't, the old Big 12 days where Oklahoma destroys everybody, every single week, except for one game a year. And, I'm not saying that in any other way other than, man, every week, man, there's big, long, fast, explosive dudes, great staffs, really good quarterback play, tremendous lines of scrimmage, things of that nature. And so I think again, both things, can be true. And we're continue to try to improve. We got to get better. I'm preaching to the choir. And, physically at the point of attack. And again, I think the defenses have been a little further ahead than our offense right now. I think that kind of goes without saying. And but we got to do the efficiency things better. Staying on schedule, getting into a rhythm, taking care of the football, creating explosive plays more consistently, and then continue to be a really good red zone offense when we get down there. Again, we've shown to be able to bleed it out, with whatever it is, 7-minute drive. We've been able to do that against, really worthy opponents. We've been able to put a 2-minute drive together quickly to go score and take the lead and respond on the other side of the ball. And we weren't able to play complementary football like we were against Auburn and Michigan earlier this year. And we had our opportunities to do that late in the third quarter, beginning of the fourth quarter, where we finally respond on offense, where we get an explosive play. We get down into, the middle of the red zone there, and then we have a penalty. And we're not good enough to overcome those things right now. We need to be better at the fundamental things that keep us out of, harm's way. And that's football too. I get it, but we got to be cleaner. I think we had 4 or 5 penalties in the game, and 2 of them were big ones, that one's kind of a drive starter, getting into a rhythm offensively. And those things are hard to overcome, and next thing you know, it's 2nd and 20. You're going against one of the best defenses in college football that are big, long, fast, small gaps, small, windows to throw through, really good schemes. And, those mistakes can be, detrimental to you, from a drive standpoint. I think one thing that you see a trend in college football, the amount of drives. Back in the day, I remember as a defensive coordinator being up here in front of you, used to, you'd post-game analysis of how many drives you defended, and then, okay, hey, that's actually reasonably good defense based on how many exposure opportunities the offense has. Well, man, you get 10 drives is about it. Those days of 12, 14, 15 drives, you don't see that. That's a very abnormal thing, and the way people are playing the game. And so we had 10 drives. You got to be more efficient. To me, if you want to kind of stay on pace, you got to be a lot more efficient. You don't have time. Well, next day we'll just punt, and next drive will come back out. Man, you're running out of opportunities, and then you're pressed with, okay, well, we got to handle the game on, and making decisions on 4th downs and those types of things a hell of a lot earlier than you would like to. How many more opportunities are we going to have to get back on, the field with, 7.5 minutes left? So your opportunities are less than they've ever been, offensively speaking. And so from an efficiency, man, the need for higher efficiencies more than it's ever been, as well. And again, we're playing against, and I'm not making concessions to really good defenses, and so we just can't move the ball and we can't score points. That's not okay. That's not the mindset. Yet at the same time, you know what the challenges are as well.
You mentioned Dylan Stewart and Brian Thomas as well. What makes that duo just such a handful, especially for some tackles that haven't had as much experience in the SEC?
Yeah, just really explosive, really powerful. They're longer versions of our Mason Thomas, longer and bigger, and just really strong and physical. They put a lot of pressure on your edges. So nothing more complicated than that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Brent, kind of piggybacking off of what Barry was asking, I heard you on the radio last night mention that you enjoy watching Georgia's games because they kind of live in the struggle right there. Is that something that you talk about at all?
I love football. I love watching Vanderbilt, their efficiency on offense. They don't give the ball away. They're number one offense in our conference. I think they're I saw a stat this morning. I think they're 5th or 6th in the nation. And they're averaging, they're number one in rushing, 6.6 yards per carry in our conference. And there's a lot of teams that are right there that you wouldn't have guessed, that are right there, with us, in rushing, that you wouldn't have thought it was that way. I didn't know that. You get so busy, but I watch them play in a really efficient, high-efficient way, and so I really appreciate that. But my thing is just mental and physical toughness. When I said Georgia, mental and physical toughness and a level of consistency right here. This is why they keep winning. When other people are kind of here, they're right here, and they're super comfortable in really thin air. And that's just respecting, a culture, an environment, a mindset, the physicality, the mental fortitude to be very comfortable in those spaces, not press. It's poise under pressure as a result, and then figuring it out, and that comes from having an attitude of belief and been there, done that. And that's normalizing the struggle of game day. A little bit of, there's going to be some choppy waters. Well, it's good. There's going to be some headwinds. Well, we were ready for it. There's going to be a moment where they punch you back and knock you on your butt, and you got to get back up and swing back. And that's what I've seen with them, and nobody has done it better the last, whatever that is, 4, 5, 6 years. And I've watched Kirby get there from day one and build it. And he's done it, in a great way with, changes at coordinator and things of that nature, and he's continued to do the same thing. Quarterbacks change, players come, players get drafted, and you continue to see a style that resonates. And it doesn't have to be close, and it doesn't have to be the exact same, but I just got a lot of respect for the level of consistency as much as anything.
Coach, it seemed like in the second half where Texas got going, running the football, you guys were in position a lot of times, just missing the tackle. Yeah. What goes into fixing that going into this week? Because you've been so good at all season.
Yeah, we pointed out, just put a shortcut up together of just, man, this is uncharacteristic. You didn't do this in practice. You haven't done it in games, yet here we are. And R. Mason played good. And we played with great effort, but the first run of the day, we do something uncharacteristic. Now, I think it was a 2-yard gain. Maybe it was a few more yards. I don't even remember, but I know the play. And we did something. We put our head inside, when we're supposed to set the edge and keep our outside arm free and set the edge 2-to-1, block it, and set a hard edge because all of our help's inside. And we don't do that. We peek inside and, and that's not, you don't have even the technique to go along with peeking inside. And next thing you know, he's kind of getting worked, and we get loose in our run defense early, and just one guy. But next thing you know, they're gaining 4 yards. They're gaining 5 yards, or get 7 yards, or the pile's going the wrong way because we got a little high and we're looking for the ball. And I thought the second half, and again, that wasn't the norm for us in the first half, and then I felt like those first two drives we were trying to go make a play. And the players will tell you that. If you put a mic in front of them, they'll tell you the truth. And trying to make a play. Nothing egregious other than, man, do your job. Play with great pad level. I said this, we got to play blocks better and we got to tackle better. You do those two things, maybe you can go win the game on defense. They don't score that touchdown. And, give credit to Texas. They were able to find the end zone. But, man, we played a huge part in that. And I only say that because we played some plays within, that drive that extended the drive, got them into plus territory. And if we just do what we have done, just play with basic, simple discipline, nothing, you don't have to beat nobody, just do your job, stay in your gap. Those things don't happen. And so that's a tough lesson to learn. And that's a tough lesson to learn when you pride yourself on that side of the ball at dramatically affecting the outcome of the game. And in my opinion, going into that game, we had a big advantage on our side of the ball compared to what we were playing. And at the end of the day, we didn't play 4 quarters of elite level defense that I felt like we were capable of playing going into that game. And so that's a reflection of the staff. It's all of us. If it's one of us, it's all of us. So I say that there, and we're all cut deeply from that. And but that's what that means. I don't think that's a pattern. That's not who we've been. Immediate ownership before they ever got to their apartments in Norman on Saturday night. Man, there was great high-level ownership. We didn't have to wait till we got to the tape, with the players on Monday. And I appreciate that. I'm not surprised by it, but I deeply appreciate it. It makes everything a little easier. If there's not ownership, if there's not self-awareness, then it makes everything a little more difficult. You can still get what you need from an improvement and a correction standpoint, just makes it not as fun. And so there was an excitement to get back to work and get on to the next game plan and step forward. And I told him, man, you guys there's some moments where we put some bad stuff on tape. You ain't gonna get it back, and everybody's gonna watch that tape. Everybody's gonna watch that tape. And now all of a sudden, you open Pandora's box, where you want people to take their call sheet and just like, man, there ain't nothing on here worth a flip. But now all of a sudden, the Rolodex is wide open, when you don't do the basics well. And, I told him success, success can be one of the worst things that you have. And sometimes, poorly managed success, leads to the disrespect for, what it takes to win. And then you go try to go make a play now. I don't have any stats yet. Go try to make a play. And I don't think it was selfish at all. I just think guys were really pressing, trying to, make a game-changing kind of play. The tackle for loss and things like that. We had 12. I thought we should have had close to 20. And, we had 1 sack, and, we missed 4 or 5 more. And again, that's football too. So it ain't got nothing to do with the opponent, nothing else. And I don't play the shoulda, coulda, woulda. But when I'm teaching and coaching and correcting our guys, I say, is that him or is that us? What should have happened here? We had a zone blitz near the goal line where Peyton Bowen breaks up the ball on 3rd and goal, and we'll hold him to a field goal. And but it should have been sacked. And Taylor Wine's been fantastic, but there's a fundamentally technique that's assigned to that call, and we got exactly what we wanted. And he got a little heavy and thick on the edge, and you can't do that. You can't put your outside hand. And when it happens, the quarterback bought a little more time, had a chance for a touchdown. Peyton had good sticky coverage. Fortunately, makes a nice PBU and saved him, but should have been a sack. He either has to throw it away, and there's a grounding potential and all those kind of things, or it should have been a sack. And so we missed in some of those opportunities, playing with great effort, amazing, tremendous effort, a lot of strain. Okay, that we never missed that. And nobody was perfect. Like everybody played with amazing strain every single play. But we did play with great effort, great resolve. And we just, pressed a little bit. And you got to let the game come to you. You got to be married to the fundamentals within the scheme.
Yeah, Brent, feeding off that, we had a chance to talk with Taylor Wine and Peyton Bowen yesterday. They both took great ownership, like you said. They were talking about trying to play Sellers. And I was thinking, when I watch Sellers, he reminds me a little bit of Cam Newton in his size and things like that, and how good Cam was back in the day. So chasing him and trying to handle him, how good is this cat?
You saw him out here, and man, he's just he's a freak. He really is, and he's really becoming an excellent quarterback. And he threw for 300 yards against Missouri a couple weeks ago in Columbia. And, man, he's running to his left one time, and it's 3rd and 37. And next thing you know, it's 4th and 3 because he throws a freaking dart across his body. He's running for his life, running to his left. He's a right-handed guy and just throws a freaking dart with great accuracy right on the sideline. And he's he's got great toughness to him. He's really hard to bring down. He like ducks down, and next thing you know, he pops out of there. And he's really hard to tackle. It's hard to get 2 or 3 guys to get him down, let alone one. And you're lucky to get one guy on him, right? They got 5 guys up front to block, plus a back. That's 6. Sometimes it's 7 with the tight end, and then so if you got one guy free, that's 8. And now you got all these freaks out here that, Harbor and Vandarius. These guys are like really good. They're really fast. So they've done a really good job of putting good players around him as well. And so you don't want to be in a whole lot of those one-on-ones either. So makes it hard to decide on how you're going to play him. But great challenge. I'm glad that they talked about him. And they watched the tape and they played against him once. And he's been able to do that against a lot of people. So, I think LSU, they end up winning the game, but man, there is nothing easy about it. He had some excellent plays against them. They've got an excellent defense. Again, they rushed for 250 yards against them. And then, you can't just focus on him. They did a really good job getting some really good backs. Rasul, the back, I think he had a NFL draft grade somewhere in the 3rd, 4th round. Coach Stryling coached him at Utah State, and he was a really good late pickup for him. And so they got good players, around him as well. So.
Yeah, so Coach, this is obviously the first time you've had a chance to see John Mateer lead after a loss.
Yeah.
What have you seen from him since then? How is he handling it?
Yeah, no, I got even more respect for him. You want to carry all the weight for all your guys, but you can't do that. That's part of their responsibility, and he wants to take the whole team on his back, and that's not fair to him at all. And so try to help him with his perspective. I think is important. And again, shoulder. If you don't play to a standard, shoulder it. It shouldn't be any different than a Mike linebacker or defensive end or the kicker. That isn't any different. But that position does require a little more weight, and sometimes a heck of a lot more. And that's okay. He can handle it. But he's always hard on himself, and he has incredibly high standards. And I haven't been around him the depth that Coach Arbuckle and Coach Coos have, but I've been made aware of how he's handled adversity in the past, and it's been really strong. But no, I'm not surprised. With your observation with him yesterday, he's a humble guy that likes to work. He doesn't live in la la land. He knows what's good and what isn't good, and what's good enough and what ain't good enough. And so he'll go right back to work, and did. The guys really respect that. That helps everybody step back in line.
Yeah, Brent, some guys have a great preseason camp, then kind of fall off when the year gets going. So what's it been like to watch Taylor Wine build off that in the first half of the season that he's had?
I told you guys about him, didn't I? Yeah, no, I know. I'm really, and we've all been there where a guy did really surprise, and then for whatever reason, they lose their way. And he's been fantastic. And my favorite part about him is how hard he works, the consistency of how hard he works. And so this is a great example why he's playing up here, because of all this work. His confidence comes from the work. His consistency comes from, win the day mentality every single day. His ability to be coached really, really hard. He's one of those guys that it's easy to coach hard because he receives it well. He doesn't go in the tank. He's not soft-minded or soft-hearted. He's got very thick skin. It goes to the critique goes to all the right places. And sometimes your words are so powerful that they can, crush someone's spirit. And so that's a mark of a coach, to figure out, what your players need, what they feed off of. And man, he's been a stud. I left last night and he's up in the building. We're walking out virtually at the same time, and I come back in this morning. There he is. I mean, do you go to class? I mean, are you working on your progress towards your degree? Are we good there? And he's an excellent student, but he's very focused, and he's a gym rat. But it's been cool to see the development, and it's none of it's by accident. So he's this amazing example for the other guys. At the end of the day, look at this guy. Comes in here. He was one of those add-ons late. We had a guy, that decommitted late, and we found him immediately. I'm like, man, this guy might be every bit, if not better than the guy we lost. That's literally the conversation in the moment. Coach Jay was, he's ready to jump off the bridge down here at I-35, and I'm like, man, this guy is better, I'm telling you. And he wants to be here. And then there was a connection. His dad had worked here. They'd lived in Oklahoma City, and they live in Tennessee, but they had lived in Oklahoma City before, and they loved the Sooners. And then they wanted to commit before they even got here. And then you're like, whoa, I know we offered you, but you're not supposed to say yes right away. And that's just kind of a coaching thing. Now you're thinking there's something wrong, But next thing you know, he blew up, and all these people wanted him to, and it's a really cool story. It's a good message for us too in recruiting. Find the right people. They got to be good enough, but find the right people, man. People matter. And his passion and his toughness, man, and his love for the game, his love for coaching, his love for discipleship is extraordinary. And he'll continue. It's not like it, well, man, they got to pay more attention. He'll figure it out. He's strong. He's physical. He's fast. He plays quick. He's got good instincts. Not perfect. Still, man, just tapping into what he's going to be. And he's been fun to watch.
I just want to ask you, Ben talked about it a bit, but getting Giovanni Gibson going some more, how important do you think that'll be?
I think it's tremendously important. And when he was at his best this spring, man, he was tough to handle. And again, his size, his catch radius, his instincts for the game, route running ability, his physicality and blocking and covering people up. He was never covered. He was always open last spring when he was before he got hurt. So you don't have many guys that are like that. So when you have one, and again, I think the progression's been right on time. Under the circumstances. So he played a few more snaps this week than he did the week before, and we'll continue to progress. All right. Y'all have a good day. You got it.